Hello, I'm Duane, the host and producer of the Discover Montcalm podcast, and today I got Joe from Montcalm Vibe here, and we're going to learn what it means to take the radio to the internet. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank M1063, WGLM, FM, M1063.com. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions is your local source for managed IT, websites design and hosting. Check them out at WMTDS.com. At Business Growth Engine, Stephen and his team support businesses through automation and streamlined processes. Go to BuilderGrowthEngine.com. DW Video transfers your home movies, slides, audio, and videotapes to digital. They produce and design websites, create business and social media videos, TV commercials, and family storytelling videos. Visit DWVideo.com to learn more. Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we are going to look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Duane Weed.
Welcome back to the Discover Montcalm podcast. My name's Duane, as I mentioned in the opening. You can find us at discovermontcalmpodcast.com, as well as on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also catch us on Pandora, iHeart, and Apple. So go to discovermontcalmpodcast.com, grab the RSS feed, put it in your favorite browser, and catch up on all things Montcalm County. So today, Joe, welcome to my little studio here in the world.
This is awesome, Duane. Thanks for having me. This is nice. This is really cool. This is so awesome to see behind the scenes.
Well, and you and I are both tech people.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that,
Right.
I'm interested in the behind the scenes of what you do, and you get to see a little bit of the man behind the curtain here.
Yeah.
Let's start with getting to know the person behind the name. Okay, we're gonna go I don't know how far back.
Sure.
Where did you grow up, and tell me about what you did in your younger years.
Wow. Okay. Well, I grew up on the east side of the state, Detroit, downriver actually. Started listening to radio as a young age. Radio's the original social media, I call it. Used to call into radio DJs, hey, can you play a song?
Yep.
Back then, they'd play it for you, shout out to you, right? And 14, 15, you hear these guys, so you start going to some of the events. They're everywhere. Got into radio at a young age, and, man, been in it for about 26, 27 years now. So, I started young, and it's just been part of me ever since.
So you grew up down south, east. What brought you to West Michigan?
Radio. Years ago, back in the day, you used to have this website, and you'd go there, and it'd have all the radio gigs listed. And there was one for B93 in Grand Rapids, and you go through the whole process. I ended up getting the job. So I moved to Grand Rapids to work at B93, and then moved over to 95.7. Went on to do something else, and then got back into radio when I moved here to Greenville at WGLM.
Yep.
Left there to pursue political aspirations for a minute, and then started the Vibe. So that's the sequence. I mean, there's been a lot of radio jobs in between before I came to Grand Rapids, but West Michigan.
You just gave us the Reader's
synopsis,
the Reader's Digest version of everything that's going on. So what year did you kind of start the Vibe?
Well, I just started about 7 months ago.
So that would have been, the middle of 2024, roughly?
Well, we launched on August 15th. We played 10,000 songs in a row without anybody talking. And then I went on air September 17th. That's after 10,000 songs played. Okay. And then, I started doing my show then. So I've been on air 6 months there. 7 months it's been going, and we've been growing every single month. And I started it just because, even though I was running for a sort of office that I don't really, but it's kind of why the Vibe created, because, you work somewhere, you run for office, you got to step away from that job. So I created that, and that's where it's at now, and it's been growing, and it's just, it evolved from radio. Now I'm doing a bunch of different things, really covering a bunch of information, news, sports, weather, contests. Yeah.
I noticed that you've been out on the roadside when it's been snowing.
Oh yeah.
Given weather reports for the local area. You've been at some other events that would be not good for one person, but you're kind of bringing people up. Hey, we got a traffic jam here.
Yeah.
We have an accident here. That type of thing. So it sounds like you're trying to do things informational for the community.
Well, when you think of Greenville, there's a lot of local media outlets that are disappearing, right? Greenville is fortunate enough to have the Daily News, the former station I worked at, GLM, but they're missing a video aspect.
Yep.
And, there was something I caught on the other day that I deleted, but at the same time, I want to point out, I deleted it just to protect some information for somebody, but
sure.
At the same time, remember you used to tell your kids, don't get caught on the evening news?
Yeah.
We're in the media, you understand. If something's going on, I'm going to record.
Well, and I had Corey Smith in here. And
I love Corey.
And he talked about the same thing. There's a point where he is in the media to tell the story. Mm-hmm. He had, as a young reporter and he's veteran now.
Yeah.
Had to find that line on where do I go deep? Where do I get the facts? Mm-hmm. Where am I respectful? He said he had to go through that whole list himself till he finally figured out, okay, what's my boss want? Mm-hmm. What am I comfortable with? And it sounds like you're kind of going through that yourself.
Well, in a way, yes. What I'm trying to do is, first and foremost, I have an affinity for fire departments. I do a lot that, if you notice, I don't respond to traditional 911 calls, mm-hmm. just somebody falling in their bathtub. That's not what I'm trying to cover.
Right.
I'm trying to, one, show people what first responders actually respond to. Jaws of life in one sequence, maybe a choking baby in another, right. A fire, a car accident. There's just so many different things. They don't know what they're showing up to sometimes. So if they're not seeing that on video, some people call me an ambulance chaser or a gawker. Not really. I mean, I'm trying to get that on camera for people to see and experience. One, it's a safety issue. Right. If it's blocking a road, if someone's a threat to society or the people in general, maybe that gets caught on camera. It all depends. There's something now in Greenville and in Montcalm that is going to be catching things in action in real time now, and it's Montcalm Vibe, and be on the lookout. Don't get caught on Montcalm Vibe doing something wrong.
Right. But you think about it, that's exactly what the networks are doing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what every other media outlet is out there doing. And there has a point where they have cut stories because of something transpiring that, we can't show this. I mean, you even see it in sports when somebody's leg turns the other direction. They're not there to show it. They got the cameras.
Yeah.
But they have set their morals, I guess, to say, hey, we're just because we have it, we're not going to use it. So I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it all depends on how you want to present the story. If you want, for instance, if there is a situation involving police officers, it is always good to have something recording to protect not just them.
They're recording.
Yeah,
they're
not
recording.
Just them, but anybody who's involved. And I try not to do too much unless it's a safety issue, anything. I'm trying not to do too many things individual. I'm just trying to provide people with information, content. Let's not be naive here. The reason I'm on the internet is because that's where people are. The reason the Vibe's a streaming station is because everybody's on the internet. Everybody's on Facebook. Everybody has a Instagram, social media account. Everybody's scrolling. And then, there's a lot of judgment there. I embrace it. I'm okay with that.
Well,
so
the news gets in that same, where occasionally, I think a lot of times the news goes too far, but there's there's opinions,
yes.
And just because it's my opinion doesn't mean it has to be the opinion.
Right.
So you talked about socials.
Yeah.
Let's jump in right now. How can somebody find the Vibe?
Well, we're online at montcalmvibe.com. We're an online 24/7 streaming radio station. So you could go to montcalmvibe.com right now and stream a 24/7 commercial-free radio station.
Right.
We play 80s, 90s, 2Ks, 24/7. I do the Afternooner, brought to you by the Green Medicine Shop from 2 to 6 every single weekday. And I'm on live. I do a live show from my studio, and it's online. But at the same time, it isn't just becoming an online streaming station. I'm on our Facebook page where I do stream a lot of live events. Last night, the lunar eclipse, stream that at 3 a.m.
So if anybody's getting this right now, we're in March of 2025.
Yeah.
We never know when this is going to go out. So if anybody remembers, the red moon.
Yeah.
That's what you meant by last night.
Yeah.
So let's kind of put it in perspective.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry about that as well. Because when we were watching the blood moon,
Yep.
People will remember it, I'm sure, from the other night, whenever this airs, right?
Yeah.
But it's things like that we try to bring to the community. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I fell asleep through that." Well, that's cool. That's what
my
the vibe's
wife
for.
got up at 2:30, went out and grabbed some pictures while I stayed in bed.
Speaking of right? Well, you didn't go out and get those pictures?
No, I didn't.
You got like all this equipment in here.
I do. But my day job needs me to be awake.
Yeah, get that
So,
sleep. Speaking of Corey caught some good pictures and he posted them. Cross promote, man. Go look at those.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
See, and that's what the vibe also is it's not necessarily just about making sure everybody tunes into the vibe or streams the vibe. I will share information from the Daily News, WG, anybody really, the Sheriff's Department. It's all about just providing information, entertainment. We do contests. We do charity events. We're trying to put together this Gnomageddon, breaking the world record for the most gnomes in one place at one time. So there's a lot of different things we're trying to do with the vibe, and I don't want to get pigeonholed because some of the videos were, at one point it was weather. You still get criticism, right?
Well, yeah, because, I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I saw you out there and I'm going, I'm sure glad that's not
right.
me.
I'm willing to do that. And when you do stuff like that, there will be people who will be like, why are you out there freezing? Why are you? Hey, you know what? Somebody's got to do it.
The TV reporters are out on the road driving around.
Yeah.
And they're standing next to a field where it's blowing and it's no different than what the big networks are doing, but your focus is Montcalm County local area.
I could be in that video where they're like in the kayak in the 2 inches of water and the people are walking by. You could do that, right?
Well, you could have some fun. So montcalmvibe.com.
Yes.
And I figure that it's probably Montcalm Vibe on Facebook.
Yep.
What other socials?
Facebook.com/Montcalm Vibe. I'm not trying to do the ironic thing is I kind of just keep it direct to my Facebook and my website. The website is, here's the one thing I've always said about social media. I try to drive people to my website, not to other people's websites like Facebook and Twitter. And those are their websites. I'm trying to get people to go to montcalmvibe.com because in this business, the only way I'm making money and they're able to put this together is sponsorships. Right. And that's at the website. That's how we're able to get a commercial-free radio station. That's how I'm able to go ahead and get this equipment to film live, which I just got our new camera. And, these type of things are going. So I try to drive people to our website, but I have one Facebook page. I got a YouTube page. I post a few things there. But it's in 7 months, the way we grew in just our Facebook page, ironically, is I'm trying to do things for the community and that type of content. So it's not so much about things I'm doing.
Right.
So it's kind of just generic how the vibe got out there. I mean, there was no promotion for it. It grew basically from just word of mouth, me going out to doing these events, me trying to, put out these videos on Facebook.
It starts with an idea.
Yes, it does.
It starts with an idea, and then sometimes I like to refer to it as not as much common sense because I'm just going to dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. But you have to build it, and from what I'm hearing you talk about, is like everybody in business, they evolve. Mm-hmm. Your businesses evolve all the time. If they just stay in one place, they're not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So you're looking, maybe you did a lot of things with the snow, or maybe, as you said, you're trying to follow, a fire department, or, because you're actually saying, hey, there's people out there that's helping.
Yeah.
There's people out there that are there to help and, to let us know off in the distance, what is that smoke? Right. I mean, you see it coming online all the time. Now there's a place that if you can get there, you're going to be,
Right.
you're going to be showing some of that.
Well, and there's other people that I just brought on who are going to be able to go around and start filming more things as well. As the county's a big place, right? Montcalm's a big place.
I'm 120 some episodes in, and by the time this airs, maybe 130.
Right. And you still got more people to talk to.
Oh, I haven't even touched the
Right.
surface.
Oh,
And where you're out trying to do more of the daily happenings as they're happening, bringing people up, kind of the radio station type of
Yeah.
format.
Yeah.
I'm heading out, not having, people ask me, well, why don't you go this and go? I said, I want to talk to everybody that's
Right.
doing a festival. I want to talk to everybody
Yeah.
that's doing things, but I want it to be more of a conversation
Right.
like we are having.
Yeah.
You hear Joe and Montcalm Vibe. Who's Joe?
Yeah.
What's Joe's vision on all of this?
Well, with the vibe, I wanted it because old school radio is kind of dying a little bit. There isn't even, you really don't need a FM frequency anymore. You got a radio in your pocket,
Right.
right? And
Right.
I play an imaging element, and it's like, that's a radio in my pocket, right? Just go on stream. It's as easy as going to montcalmvibe.com, or we have an app, the Extreme Music app, which I have many different radio stations, which we're about to launch a new country station as well for
Sure.
Montcalm. So we're trying to evolve and do I mean, hey, you know what? Call me naive. Call me maybe too big for my britches, but I'm trying to build a media empire in a way to get streaming, radio, TV. I got a website, but we're looking into doing some print as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people on my team who don't really want to. I've been begging them to put themselves out there a little bit, but there's a lot of people who are working on my team as well who have other ideas and who are helping bring the vibe into the next level. And we are a member of the Chamber of Commerce already, so.
Yeah, the Greenville Chamber.
Yeah, the Greenville area Chamber of Commerce. So it's like we are growing so fast, and it's so cool to see that some people like us. And the thing about the vibe is we aren't built for everybody. We're not intended to be for everybody to listen to. If they don't want to watch our videos, they don't have to. Scroll right on by. If you don't want to listen to the type of streams we play, hey, maybe download the app and listen to one of the other stations that we have. We're just trying to provide things for people who want something, right? Like if you want rock music, if you want videos, if you want memes, if you want whatever you want. We're trying to provide that for people in an entertainment sense.
Isn't that what podcasting is all about?
Yeah.
You've got all these different formats, and you've got this device right here that gets you where you want to go, and we have a choice. We have a choice on what we say, where we go, and how we look at it. I think we're overrun with choices.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But at the same token, people complain when it's everywhere. People
Yeah.
complain when it's not happening. So, that's just human nature at this point.
I and I don't mind being controversial. I actually accept it. I don't necessarily say I want to be controversial, but I embrace it. Like I like to be we are the vibe for the reason. This is why I named it the vibe.
Yeah.
We want to set discussion. We want to set the tone. We want to set what people are talking about. And I think sometimes with some of the things that we're doing and talking about, with some of the views we're getting, I mean, and let's be honest, when you're on social media, like it's all about likes. I mean, with what people call, and my kids say, are you an influencer now with the social media? No, it's a website thing. We're not hawking car seats. We're not doing that. We're trying to provide information. So I believe that's what social media was intended for, right? To connect with people, to show them things, to provide them information. Maybe selling a car seat is informative to some people. That's not for me, and that circles back around to we're not for everybody, right?
And with that being said, those people that are selling them, that's where this podcast comes in.
Yep.
Come in and tell us about your car seats.
Yep.
Tell us about your mom, pa business. Tell us about your manufacturing company, et cetera, et cetera. Again, my vision is get to know the people behind the sign.
Yeah.
Your vision is to make people aware of what's going on around this area by putting all this stuff online so that it is almost immediate that they can find where that smoke in the distance is coming from. And the one thing that I did notice, and I have to commend you on this, I noticed that one of the fires that you were at, you're not up close.
No,
You
no.
are. It looks like you're back safely, trying to report things like any other reporter, whether it's the local GR people or whatever.
When you're dealing with these guys who, okay, any first responder who, you got to give them their respect. You got to give them their distance. You got to give them their space. They're dealing with a lot of things. They can't have me out there. So when they ask me to move or anything, I'm making sure I'm out of the way.
Right.
I'm getting my distance. And it's kind of why whenever I do anything with the fire departments, those are the only kind of calls I go to, because it circles back to people don't really understand what they go through. So I try to zoom in. I try to do what I can, but I will always stay a safe distance, because the last thing I want is one to be in the way of anything or have an impact.
Well, they're there as a first responder because there's something bad happening, and the last thing in the world they want. And I guess it's better to make friends than enemies.
Yeah.
That way, when it's done, they can talk to you and they can bring you up to date.
I had someone's wife who's a firefighter contact me privately and say, thank you. I get to see my husband at work and know he's safe.
Yeah.
So that's the same people. Like, you could get 10. Why are you filming that? Why are you doing it? Don't care. You can give me 20 of those. That one message is all I care about.
And I'm sitting on the fence, but it's the same thing all your news stations are doing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing that they're all doing. And I'm not getting on my high horse or that. I chose that wasn't the direction that worked for me, because that's not what I want to do.
Right.
But I also understand that I'm glad there's people out there doing it, so I don't have to.
Right, and we covered the teen center opening at the Flat River Community Library.
Yeah.
I go around to a lot of the businesses here in town, and like trying to bring Hot and Now to one of those businesses, or talk about. Right now, I got some other videos coming out where I'm talking about some other things. I just posted about the roundabout in Greenville that they just built, and they're redoing something on Jackson's Landing. So. And I'm from Greenville, so that's where I typically am able to respond quickly. And let's be honest, it's the biggest city in the county, so there's a lot happening there. So it's why you're able to go to accidents, and I live right in the middle of it all, so it's right around the corner. And, I think people want to see it, if I'm going to be honest with you, and it's okay, because that's why I created the Vibe, is to provide them those things that they want to know about their city that they didn't know about before.
And it's also, I think, the icing on the cake is making sure that the content that you're getting is as factual as any other reporter, and being able to bring people up to date, being able to make updates, and say, hey, I'm taking this down because, this one, I didn't like it.
Yeah. And I know what video you're talking about. A while ago, there was a situation. It was a safety threat to the community. I deemed it in my media aspect. Regardless of what the situation, that was a safety threat to the community. It was in the public sphere, and that was of interest to the people of Greenville. Maybe there's some people who were upset that it was of interest, like, oh, you know what? Keep that stuff in your home then, with all due respect. Keep that in your home, If someone's coming outside and they're waving something that I don't think is, should be waved around where a bus stop for children are, not at the time, but it's right there, So
Right.
I have concerns about that. Now that it was done and everybody was safe, it's time to take it down. I don't need to leave it up.
Right.
But in the media, I will defend First Amendment to the bitter end.
Yes.
I will die on that cross. I will lose account. It is my livelihood.
Right.
When they take that away from me.
Well, so
I love this talk because I like to talk about the controversy aspect of it all, because when you're in what we're doing, it kind of matters, and it kind of helps understand me a little bit of why I'm doing it. How can a guy be, sleep on a bus for a week, right, for charity, be so helpful, and yet to some people look so polarizing by, why are you doing this? Why would you put this on tape? Why would you do that? And think you're a bad guy for...
Well, okay. I'll defend it a little bit. There's the armchair people at home that they don't have anything to do.
Right.
And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I think people are empowered by their voice that they have here. Speaking of the voice, let's change it around just a little bit. You've been around Montcalm County for a while now.
5 years.
And What is it about Montcalm County that you like?
To be completely honest, I like that it's not a big city.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, with what I know, I want to be able to bring big city aspects to it. So I love that it's a small little city.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's near so many big things still. So
Right.
you're still right outside of a big city like Grand Rapids,
Right.
and yet you're a good distance away. My family loves it here. My brothers and sisters are here. My other family lives in Belding, so moving from Grand Rapids to here was just perfect. And then with all the things that are here, like when you have a beach in town like Baldwin Lake
Yep.
in Greenville, you don't have those type of things just right around the corner that you could go to free of charge
Right.
in Grand Rapids. You got to pay for some of those things
Sure.
down there. Free beach in Greenville, love that.
Right.
Kids love that. I like the school district as far as how the schools handle educating our kids. I love that. That mattered to me. So as far as Greenville, the things that you look for as a parent, Greenville drew me to it.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessarily even a business aspect. It was the family aspect, and like when you choose to come to Greenville instead of moving anywhere else that you were going to go or whatever, you want to make this your home. I got a 30-year mortgage, so
Yeah,
I'm not looking to start Wisconsin vibe. So I started Montcalm Vibe.
Well, and the other side of that too is, you found your area. Montcalm's a big county.
It is.
I mean, from where I am over here in the Panhandle to get over to Carson City, it's 45 minutes on a good day to get from one end of the county, to the other. And there's a lot of cool little townships and towns and that are around here. So, Joe, thank you for coming on.
Oh, no problem
I think
at all.
We got a little deeper dive. And
Hey, no doubt.
You've brought to this exactly what I'm trying to offer everybody, and that is to get to know the person behind the sign.
Yeah.
Get to know who they are so that when people go out, they go, oh, wow, you've been in this area for a while.
Yeah.
And to me, that's important. So we'll see where life goes. Maybe in another 6 months or a year, we'll come back and see how you've updated stuff.
You're going to come on?
I'll be happy to come on yours. I'll be happy
All right.
to come on yours because I think with the newspapers, the radio stations, the other media outlets throughout this county, we're all in it to tell the story of this county. So collaborating goes a whole lot farther than anything else, in my opinion. And that's, you've got your little area, I got my little area, everybody's over, and sometimes we'll overlap, but there's nothing wrong with that because it's promoting the county.
Right. I was collaborating with a big story that was just recently out. We kind of broke the arrest video, right? Mm-hmm. We were in collaboration with another media outlet the entire time. So we were able to get facts to a story. We were able to get questions and information out from collaborating that the other one person didn't have, and then we were trading information. So there are things that when you collaborate, you could accomplish big things.
You can. So on that note, thank you for coming on the Discover Montcalm podcast. You can find us at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can check all of our episodes out there. Go and subscribe to our page, follow us. Give us ideas. Tell us, hey, have you interviewed this person? By all means, 231-250-9624 is my number. DiscoverMontcalmPodcast.com. You can catch everything there. And on that note, thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Remember to buy and shop locally.